What separates high achievers from the rest? How can someone go from being broke to wealthy beyond their dreams? From being fat to a world-class athlete? From being underconfident to being in absolutely tremendous mental shape? Jay Potic is a corporate professional turned author, speaker, and coach. Throughout his professional and entrepreneurial career of over 14 years, he's impacted 50,000 plus lives across 7 countries. Join him as we take a closer look at the stories and methods of ordinary people who've achieved extraordinary results regardless of the difficult circumstances we all face in life. Welcome to the Alpha X Podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Alpha X Podcast. This is Jay Parekh. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt like life has been unfair to you? That you probably started off on the back foot, that the main thing standing in the way of your success are the circumstances in your life that have never been in your favor. That's a very funny thing. Very often, the obstacle that's standing in your way actually ends up becoming the way. Today's guest is a man with very humble beginnings. In fact, you know what? He doesn't even like to say that he comes from a humble beginning. He likes to say that he comes from a poor beginning, a poor background, because that's the truth. That's where he started off. My guest today is a man named Irfan Noorani. He's an author of over 5 books. He's traveled the world. He's impacted thousands of lives. He continues to do so. His story begins in the basement of a 5-star hotel as a chocolate wrapper, and he's made it to the stage of that very same 5-star hotel doing seminars. And I know he has a long, long way to go. He's a very dear friend of mine. I'm really excited for all of you to hear from him. So without further ado, let's get started with today's episode.
So Irfan, we've been talking, a lot more lately. And, I really wanted to know more about, you had an extraordinary journey. I mean, let's be honest. From working as a chocolate wrapper in the basement of a 5-star hotel to, now traveling the world, authoring, is it 5 or 6 books right now? And working with people, inspiring people, being known as TheClarityMan. And I just want to understand, how did you make that happen for yourself? Because it's a huge journey. So I want to know, how did it happen for you? What changed? What was your journey like?
Okay. So first of all, thank you, Jay, for asking me this important question. And, I believe you already know, right? I had lost my father at a very, very early age when I was 2, right? My mom, my superhero, she was trying to put things together, trying to make ends meet. And me, myself, my younger brother, we used to be the stallions in the carriage of our family, right? And we used to drive the entire family. All 3 of us used to work. And so basically, one of the reasons I think what I was able to accomplish, or what I've been able to accomplish so far, is because at a very early age, life threw us a curveball and we couldn't handle that, and we had to figure out a way. So, I think when the situation came about, I had to stand up. My younger brother had to take charge as well. We both started figuring out along with my mom. So I think that gave us an attitude towards situations, challenges in life, and also helped us realize that, you have to get it done and you have to do to fix the situation. And from that point onwards, I think that focus of how can I make it better from a very young age has always been there, and it gotten stuck with me, right? That if I'm doing something, even today, if I'm doing this work, impacted people, 40,000 plus people globally as a speaker, as a coach, but I'm always wanting to know, how can I make it better? How can I reach out to, my next mission is to reach out to 3 million people by 20th April 2023. That's what I'm working on with the podcast, with my publishing, with my books. As you mentioned, the sixth book is should be done by the first week of March, and that's what I love, right? That's what drives me. That's what helps me to wake up in the morning. Now, yes, I used to be a chocolate wrapper in the basement of Taj, and with that drive to make it better, people used to say that, oh, you're working at the chocolate wrapper. I started working at the cake shop, then at the counter of the cake shop in La Patisserie Cake Taj.
How old were you when you started?
I was in my college. I was in I think I finished 12th. I was in 13th. So about 22, 21, 22.
Okay.
Yeah. But before that, I had done a lot of other things before I came to Taj, because Taj was like a breakthrough for me, because it was a better environment for me to work with a little more polished people who can speak well, who come across in a certain way and present themselves in a certain way. That was my basis for the next level. That how can I be like them? How can I make my life better? And that has been the focus. That has been.
It opened maybe a whole new world for you, like a whole new set of possibilities for you, right?
Oh yes. I used to be mesmerized, right? And I was working with Taj, right? See, I'll give you some context to what I'm saying, right? I mean, I am living in a room which is about 150, 160 square feet, with four of my other siblings, my mom, my uncle, and my grandmother. Right? Imagine the space, and we used to keep bumping into each other, and probably that's the reason why we have so much love for each other, because we were so connected. But the point I'm making is
at that point you can't even help but develop that kind of bond and love. I mean,
yeah, because we had no other choice, that we used to bump into each other, we used to have fights. Anyway, that's a different story. But that's the environment that I come from, and I always say that I was below average in all areas. Like, you talk about space, you talk about mindset, because lost and confused kid, not knowing what to do with life because father is not around, and I had to figure things out on my own. But like as Steve Jobs says, right? I don't know if you have heard his quote. It says, "You can only connect the dot looking backwards, not looking forward." So I can see what happened actually set the foundation of a certain attitude towards life, set the foundation of having to figure out things. No one is going to do it. You have to do it. You have to stand up. That's what I got actually.
Wow. And then what happens? You started working in Taj, and then you had this whole other world open in front of you. Maybe people like millionaires, or people like who are from a different background, different upbringing. And then what happened? What did that do for you?
So as I said, it was a struggle to put food on the table. So earlier on, before Taj, I started doing whatever I could, right? Working in a STD PCO booth in those days. If you remember, there used to be a PCO booth. I used to work there. Yeah. There was an STD office where I used to work and handle
just
calls.
For everyone who doesn't know, initially when you used to do international calls, you couldn't just make international calls from your phone or your mobile. You would have to go to a place which is an STD booth, and you'd actually have an ISD booth, an STD booth, to make long distance calls, international calls.
Correct.
I didn't know that. That's the first time I'm hearing.
So I used to be the operator in that office, along with that was pretty much my first, again, proper job, where I used to sit in an STD PCO booth after my college, right after 10th, when I did the 11th standard, and that's where I started.
15, 16 years old?
15, 16 years old. Again, before that also, I did a couple of things, but anyways, let's not go into too much detail. But that's where my proper job started. I used to earn 600 rupees for, I think, 4 or 5 hours of work.
Wow. So that's $10.
Yeah, about $10. Yeah, about $10. And that's where I began. And then in college, I found some good people, right? Good people meaning good friends, well-meaning friends, and we used to connect, we used to hang out. Very rare we used to meet up like once a week or something, because I was still working. So I used to bunk a lot of college to make sure that, I prioritize work, because work will bring in 600 rupees to the house. And from that point onwards, they said, why are you doing this? Because it was just like a temporary job, right? To support my college and support my family and all those things. And they said, why are you doing this? And said, why don't you work with us in Taj? Because we go to Taj during seasons, meaning during Diwali, during Easter, during Christmas, and we go and help the cake shop to because they have an overload of orders of chocolates, cakes, this, that. So, we can basically work together there. And with those friends, I started working, and, along with working with them, I also, the manager really liked my work. She really liked, the way I was dealing with people and everything. And she said, why don't you come and work with us on the cake shop counter? And that's how I progressed from the basement to the cake shop counter. And then today, I mean, recently, that, right? I was also there in the ballroom on the stage as a speaker as well.
Yeah,
and that's
which is so insane. The journey from being in the basement to going and actually presenting or performing or speaking at the same stage in the same place. I mean, did you even think that that was going to happen in the future when you were there the first time?
Never, ever, right? And I think this is a common thing that not only myself but a lot of people, I wouldn't say undermine, because they are not even aware that there is a possibility that they can create something like what happened to me, right? With
100%.
work and that's the reason why, Jay, one of my focus area when I do my clarity coaching work, I help people to remove their possibility blindness. Let me repeat. I help people remove their possibility blindness, because they are blind to their possibilities. They are completely unaware of it, right? So how can I help them? And that's what has been one of my focus, because I had no clue that I'm going to reach here. All I had is a simple focus that if I'm doing something today, how can I make it better in a week's time or a month's time, or what do I need to do? Every single day you have to get up, you have to put in the hours until you feel exhausted or tired and about to retire. You have to be focused on those things that you want to create.
So then what happened after that? I mean,
so what happened, about working with Taj actually opened up a lot of things for me, a lot of connections, a lot of people. Again, I used to see very polished people, and that's where the desire of being at the front line of the hotel, meaning at the reception, because I used to see these amazing people, right, speaking a certain way, connecting, and very polished, so I was really mesmerized by these elements, right? So I said, one day I want to be standing at the counter of the hotel reception. I've not bear in mind, Jay, I've not done hotel management. I've not done any diploma, any official courses for hotels, right? So from chocolate wrapper to coming on the stage on the platform of La Patisserie, the cake shop, at the counter, and then from that point onwards, I did a few things in between, because again, my college was important, my education. I gave important to my education to finish my graduation. So I left Taj, and then I did a couple of other things. Then I started selling interlinings for a German company called Hansel. And in between, I did other things. Then I've also worked for BPL Mobile. Then, initially the mobile it came in long ago in India. Do some verification work. I also did collection work for people who could not pay the bills and stuff. Then I ended up back in hotels.
I can imagine you doing that. That is insane. You're so warm, and I cannot imagine you doing collection work. How long did that last?
Actually, I did it for a while. For a while. I started with soft collection, then I got it to medium collection. I don't know if people would want to know the definition of soft and medium and hard collection, because hard collection is something like,
we can imagine what hard collections are.
yeah. So I did that for a while, and again, I got introduced to another set of people, and with different mindset and a different attitude towards life. Right. And I started hanging out with them. And then from that point onwards, I came back to hotels.
Okay.
Marine Plaza. And this time I manifested the reception part. Right. And that also was an amazing accident. One day I was going to do something, and I saw an ad in the paper. I said, you know what, this is where I wanted to go once I thought about it in Taj, that I want to work at the reception in a 5-star property as a receptionist. And I just applied for the interview, and the manager probably liked me, because, as I said, I was not from a hotel management background. He said, you know what, you can start working with us. We'll keep you on probation. I did a 6 months probation again, and I stayed with the hotel for about 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
And I did pretty okay there as well. Got recognition, reputation. Again, money was not that much, and I still had my problems of trying to figure out my own house and everything. but I did that.
So when did the shift to the kind of work that you're doing right now, which is, helping people and
Yeah.
like helping them kind of achieve that, like exactly what you did. I'm seeing, I've never heard your full, like your story in its entirety, all the different things that you've done before this. We've talked about it before, but never to this extent. And, one thing that I see is, you're always putting in the work. And, a lot of times I notice people, they're doing their work. They're going to their jobs and, they're putting in the hours, but they're not putting in that extra mile because maybe they have that belief of what's the point, you know like they definitely, I don't think they don't have the desire. I think everybody has a desire for growth. Everybody has a desire of making, of accumulating wealth, right? But I think somewhere, what was different is that you could always see that next step and you always put in the extra mile to get there. Because I don't see somebody who would not go the extra mile to be able to, go to an interview where you have, like you don't have the experience, you don't have the qualifications to get the job, and you go over there and make it happen for yourself. I think you went the extra mile, which is why you did that. So what made you go the extra mile at that point? Even like you didn't know where you were going to get, but something made you go that extra mile. What do you think that was? And how can someone kind of start seeing that and applying that into their lives?
I think it's a combination for me. The way I look at it, it's a combination of things. Like the first thing that came about, that became part of me, is putting in the work, right? Because I had no other choice at a very early age. And as you know that, the earlier you start, and with the consistency, if you keep doing something, it becomes part of you, or it becomes like a strong habit, right? So I think putting in the work to for 10 hours, 12 hours a day, it doesn't feel like that I'm doing a lot of work, because I was basically kind of conditioned from a very young age. So that really worked in my advantage.
You didn't
Obviously,
have a choice. I think that
yeah,
went a long way as well.
yeah. But along the journey, I also learned the importance of doing the right things in a certain order is also very important, because otherwise you'll just be like what do you call the hardworking idiot, not reaching the results that you want, right?
Right.
So it came about over a period of time, because I used to be like, just putting in the work for the sake of it. And in a job, when you are in a job, you have a certain mindset, you're working for someone else, and you have to do certain things and put in the work anyways. But it was not a major concern for me. Like, I used to enjoy filling my day with work, and doing something that I really love. And also I was, as far as I remember, during my entire journey, when I came across people, I was very curious of how they have reached there, or what do they have to, especially people who I kind of looked up to, or kind of said, wow, what, this person is doing something good, or that person is doing something good. So I used to pay attention. I used to pay very, very careful attention, and I used to absorb, and I used to understand, and then I used to put it out in my own unique way in my life. And that's actually that constant growth. And I think that again comes from the basis that I told you earlier. How can I make it better? How can I make it better every single day? Every single day. And that's what really, really has helped me, because I can put in the work. I know the attitude. I know I have the focus of, or attitude of, making it better. So even if I'm making 0.01% of increased, a result in my life today, then I am better with that percentage.
And it's like, it's the concept of compounding. I think what you just described
Oh
is
yes,
it's the same thing as the financial concept of compounding. Even if you're 0.1% better every day, well,
yes,
over a series of a year, that's 365
yeah.
days. That's you're about 30. I mean, my math is not good, but I think that's about 30 or 40% better than what you were last year, which is not bad.
Yeah. But one of the major shift came in this learning part and the growth part, when I started working in an environment with a lot of different perspective and backgrounds and culture. So from working in a hotel, one day I'll tell you the context of how I ended up on cruise ships. One day I was working in the hotel at the reception. I was standing and doing my shift. My colleague and me be having a conversation, and this guy walks in, Marine Plaza Hotel, from the main door with this girl, and he's going up to the restaurant to have like a midnight buffet, right? Late night. I mean, probably he came from a party or something. And my colleague, she knew this guy, and she's like, "Oh, hi, hello," and just had a quick chat. And I was like, "Who's this guy? And how do you know him?" So she's like, "This guy used to work with us at the reception, and today he's here as a guest in the hotel." So I said, "What does he do? How did he did the transition? What happened?" So she says that Irfan, he is working on cruise ships now, and that's where I got introduced to the world of cruise ships. And then I started exploring cruise ships. I said, "Do I have a shot? Will I get the chance? I don't know. Will it work?" Like, at times when we do coaching, a lot of people come in a victim mindset. So I went into the victim mindset, and I was inspired by this guy, but I was like, "Will it work for me? How will it work for me? What if this? What if that?" But then I said, no. If I have to figure it out, because I still need to figure out my own house. My mom is still working. I need to take her off the work. She's also aging. So I need to have a good sizable amount of money coming in with whatever work I do, work, business. I mean, I had no clue or sense of business then, and I didn't have the courage to do the business as well. But I said, you know what, this job could actually change my life. So let me see what I can do. And again, I said, okay, what do I need to do? I started figuring it out. Again, I still don't have any major qualification, just a work experience of 3.5 years of hotels. No diploma, no hotel management. But I said, cruise ship could be a different ball game. They may reject me. So I had a lot of fear and hesitation, but I applied. And I was lucky, thank God, my stars have been favoring me. I don't know if I can say that, but yes, I truly believe that I've been given the opportunities as well. Yes, I put in the work. And they called me for an interview. Again, there were a lot of people. I don't know what they liked about me, but they gave me the shot. They gave me the opportunity. And my first cruising experience or first contract, I was earning about $600, $600 or $700, which is about 35K at that point in time.
Mm-hmm. And how much of a difference was that from the
major shift? I think even in Marine Plaza, I was not even getting 10,000 rupees.
Wow. So that's
at that time
almost 4 times the money.
Yeah. 3.5 times the money. So
increase.
Yeah. So I said, I'm doing it. And so what if it's every single day you have to work, right? If you go on a contract, you go sign a contract for 6 or 9 months, it depends on your rank, and you work every single day for at least about 10 to 12 hours. And I was like, you know what? I've done that. So it's not going to be difficult for me. Yeah. But I got to see Caribbean for the very first cruise, the Caribbean islands. It was beautiful.
Wow. So you now you're on the cruise, you're traveling the world, you're rubbing shoulders with the who's who.
Yeah.
And you're making a lot more money. Now, this is about the time where most people kind of like, you know what, I've made it, and they kind of become complacent and they start, they want to relax. What did you do?
See, I think I don't know if ever I will be 100% satisfied with what I'm doing. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about that, I want to be highly, but the thing that I'm doing, the growth aspect of it, right? As a human being, because when I come across other people who are doing something better, I'm always inspired and in awe of people who have done well. And I want to do more. I don't know why, but I feel that, there is much more that I can do. So at any given point in time during my entire career, yes, initially I started because of a challenge that I felt, I have to make my life better, to support my mom, to buy the house and make sure she has enough. But since then, I've always focused on how can I make it better. And I'm not 100% content to where I am. And I think it's in a good way. I'm not talking in a bad way, saying, I have immense gratitude for the way my life has turned. So, I was actually in one of my videos, I explained this element, right? Gratitude does not mean that you have to be complacent. You have to say, okay, thank you very much. I have enough. Thank you. How can I make it better? Thank you. How can I help other people or do more for other people if I have enough, right? So I think that has always been in my forefront in anything that I do.
I think what you're describing is, I've always noticed in people who are successful, they have a hunger. It's a hunger, right? There's this burning desire to do more, to be more, to give more, and I think that's definitely a big part of success. And I think it's about raising one's standards. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being happy with what you have, because obviously you gotta be happy with what you have, and be happy in the moment. But at the same time, it's exciting, right? To be able to travel the world, and now you're here, but how can you get here, and then and at a higher level, and how can you get here at another higher level, right? And that hunger, and the curiosity that you mentioned about as well, because you're always curious, you're always asking questions. How can I do it? I think one of the things that I'm seeing, as you're talking about your story, I don't think that commonly anybody who would look at the way that you started off, right, and the way that you began, that you would be doing the kind of work that you're doing right now. In fact, most people would probably feel that somebody with that kind of a background would probably have a very different kind of belief system. Like they would probably feel that what, I can't do this. It's not possible. It's not in the realm of possibility for me. That guy could do it probably because of their upbringing, or maybe they come from more money or whatever it is, more opportunity. But I think the fact that you ask the right questions, you're always asking the right questions.
Yeah.
How can I be better? How can I get this done? How can I get that? And that, I think, is so crucial. And that's the one reason why you always seem to find a way.
Yeah.
Right? Always. So what happened after? How did you actually finally end up doing the kind of work that you do now? And I mean, what shifted for you? Because again, you went from 10,000 rupees. You had a 400% increase when you started the cruise, and then after that, I mean, there's been another level of increase after that as well, where you just went to a different paradigm. So share with us, how did that happen?
Yeah. So Jay, that journey continued with me. It started with one contract. It always starts with one. Like we cruise shippers or seafarers would say, what, I'll do one or two contracts, and then I'll get enough money. I'll do this, and then I'll do something else. But I got stuck to it because again, money was good. Every single contract that I did, I grew to some degree. Right, that's the best thing that happened, and that kept me going, because I kept showing better possibility in terms of my time investment that I'm doing with the company. The company was brilliant, still exists, and it's an amazing company. And I, step by step, I kept growing with every contract, and with a blink of an eye, I was I was into the cruise shipping industry for about 10 years, 11 years actually. During the time, a lot of things changed. I grew substantially. My communication, the way I interact, the way I come across, completely changed because of the international exposure. I got, I learned from some great leaders working over there. One of the leaders, which I always think he was one of the best ones, who I met last before I, came out of the cruise shipping industry. Mario, he had come from Disney. So I learned a lot of things during this journey. I improved my life. I got married. I had a kid, right? So now the kid is 5 years of age. My mom is aging, and I said, you know what, I need to focus on my priority shifted actually, because I wanted to be there for my mom, because she has always been there with us in physical presence, because I have the money coming in, I've got the stability, I've helped a lot of people within my family, beyond the family, and I wanted to take my life to the next level, because I want to provide even better with the same attitude for my kids, for my wife, right? Because obviously you stay away from 3-4 months, it's not really an ideal situation for your relationship when you're in a relationship, right? So I wanted to change these dynamics, and again, this was going on for about 2 years, that I'm going to change, and I was kind of procrastinating, right? Because things are going fine, I've become complacent, comfort level is set in, but I was not happy with what I was doing. I'll tell you why I was not happy with what I was doing. Because when you rise through the rank, right, you basically are leading people, basically are managing people, rather than you doing something very interesting or very proactively. Because I've always been very active, right? Working long hours, doing something on the go, figuring things out. So I did not have those elements. And I said, what can I do? And I've been thinking about it. because I knew I had started having this feeling that, there is much more that I can do with my life. There is much more that I can do with my life, because I've come a long way. I've come from zero to basically so much. So, but I didn't knew how to manifest this feeling or this desire. And I used to talk to people to brainstorm ideas. I want to be an entrepreneur. I started reading about entrepreneurship, how some amazing people have crafted their own business. They've taken a small idea and did it. Some amazing people who have just taken those ideas and outsourced it to companies, and they've made millions, right? So there are a lot of things that I explored, right? Reading, conversation, but I didn't have the courage to do it. And one fine day, actually, this came in as a breakthrough as well, right? Because I realized, I wouldn't say validated, but I think I realized something. I'll tell you what happened exactly. And that was the day that mental shift happened, that I must take action. I was actually about to go to see my senior manager, one of my senior manager, Danilo Portoso, okay, great guy from Italy. And he was the general manager then, and I was the hotel controller. Hotel controller meaning I was more in charge of policies, money, everything on board, and control, food control, cost control, and all those things. And I was about to enter his office, but the office door was locked. And I heard him screaming and shouting and talking to someone from the head office, saying, "I am not letting Irfan go from here." Okay. And I was, for a moment, I thought, I don't know what's happening. I mean, he's taken my name, although, I mean, I don't think so. He still does. He know that I was standing at the door and I heard this conversation. Okay. So he is basically advocating the fact that I want him to be working for me in my team, because they wanted me somewhere else. They wanted to transship me to certain another assignment. And he said, "I'm not letting him go. He's a great worker, this, that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to let him go." And that's where I realized that, you know what, I have been doing a lot of work, which I used to always, most of the time, I used to always undermine myself, thinking, oh, I'm okay. You know, people are saying good things about me, but I'm okay. But when he said that, you know what, I'm not letting him go, and you know, this guy is one of the leaders, and saying, you know, I have so much more I've been wanting to do, and this came in kind of a realization that, you know, it's time for me to step up. I can do much better. I can do more things. I can create better, right? And I just don't have to limit myself to a job, because time is running out. I'm already 38, right? And if I have to do something substantially, it has to be now or never. And that's where I said, you know what, this time when I go home, I'm going to do something concrete. And I started, when I came back in India, I got introduced to Mr. Khan, Mr. Irfan Khan. And since then, I've never looked back. I started this work as a clarity coach, as a clarity man. Again, I put in the work that is required, and started writing books, started having conversations, started helping people. And that's how it's been so far, Jay.
That is an amazing journey, Irfan. I mean, thank you so much. You know, you've added so much value to this podcast today. Tell me one thing, you know, before you go, if somebody wants to kind of, you know, get to know more about your work or more about your journey, or maybe get connected to you, how do they do that? Because I'm sure like a lot of people after listening to this, you know, would want to know more about you.
Yeah. See, the easiest way is if you Google my name, Irfan Noorani, a lot of things will come up. My work will come up, YouTube channel, website, this, that, everything will come up, Facebook page, links for the book, everything will come up. But if you really want to get connected, then, you know, I can give you an email ID as well. If they really want to know more, or if they want to connect with me or something like that, then by all means, I have no problem.
Brilliant. In fact, I'll do one thing. I'll do everyone a favor. I'll put all your details in the description below, and they can get in touch with you. Irfan, thank you so much.
Thanks, brother.
Any final messages before you go to, you know, the people listening at home?
See, it is very important. It is very important to attempt to do whatever you want to do. I mean, what will happen, how it will happen, that's a different story. Because if I look at it, you know, initially for me in my life, it happened by default, because I have no other choice. Life had cornered me, and I had to push back, right? But you know, one thing that I did while I started this work as a coach, I intentionally put myself in a similar situation where I said, I have no other source of revenue that I'm going to depend on. I'm going to depend on this, what I'm doing. And for me to make it happen, to get back to that same driving mechanism, And if you do that intentionally in your life, having a phenomenal reasons to drive you, but my mom has been my reason, right? To put food on the table for yourself, or anything that is that mechanism that has worked for you, and attempt, go out and do it, take action, and you will be surprised by your own self. Like, how, I mean, I never thought that I could do this, because as I said, people first of all have no thought process around that this is even possible for me, or what is possible for me. And that's why they stay where they are and they don't take action. When you take action, and when you use a mechanism that has worked for you in the past, for me it has worked, that life had cornered me, so I use the same mechanism. What do I need to do to get this juices flowing back again, and focus on those elements?
No, it's like you said. I mean, it's overcoming that possibility blindness, as you put it. And I think that hits it right on the nail. Thank you so much, Irfan, for joining us. I mean, this was really, really cool, man. I'll see you soon, and take care.
All the best. All the best. Thank you, Jay. Thank you.